Cameo, and even curves into, at the end, Niv Mizzet Draco Genius.
The Draco Genius, wow. Now, Chris Alexander is actually a local player from my neck of the woods. He plays at TJ Collectibles, Massachusetts player, all the way out here in Cincinnati. Good to see a familiar face. He'll be playing against maybe a face that you guys probably know a little better, Caleb Durward. He's playing a blue-red Delver deck with Talron Sky Summoner.
So this seems like the next attempt to try to encore the deck from last season. It's got, Snapcaster, Delver, Augur, Dungeon Geists, Talrand, and then bunches of instants. It's really similar to, trying to be similar to the kind of deck that Christian Calcano won Grand Prix Minneapolis with. My own personal opinion is I'm not sure it's actually there being the next Delver deck. But
no, and I don't think Caleb thinks it's there either. Just as evidenced by the large number of 1-ofs, 2-ofs, and 3-ofs, it really looks like he doesn't know what he's doing with this deck.
Okay. The deck's, I'm not sure that means he doesn't know what he's doing. The Augur Boluses really make for a good package to find some of those things. But there certainly are a lot of individual cards floating on. It's only 2 Augur. So turn 1 Delver from Caleb, turn 2 good mana and Augur into Desperate Ravings for Chris Alexander. Delver does not flip for Caleb, and I think that's one of really the scary parts right now, especially for those of you who played any block constructed. Delver of Secrets isn't the amazing card you remember it to be.
Right. There are no ponders to set it up.
Right. All right, a swing from Augur Bolus drops Caleb to 19. Third land into play untapped from Chris Alexander. He's going to pass the turn. We already know he has Desperate Ravings. Caleb will think twice. And Caleb's Delver still does not flip. And this I think is the frustration behind playing Delver without any ponders.
That's the way, well, that's how I felt when I played Delver Secrets. I felt like I was playing flipless Delver.
Right. Delver swings back, so Chris drops to 19, and Chris will Faithless Looting on Desperate Ravings on end stop.
He'll shuffle him up. Caleb says, nah, I don't need to die. I'll pick one.
And Kessig Wolf Run hits the bin. More lands for Chris Alexander. He's going to hit with Augur Bolus. Caleb's at 16.
Yep, both players playing at a pretty brisk pace right now. They know they don't have too much time left to finish this match. Only 13 minutes, as you can see at the top of the screen.
Tap Steam Vents for Chris Alexander. Still no plays. That Delver, when it does flip, and it should eventually, but not yet, will pose somewhat with our Jim. As they get later in the game, this has to favor Alexander.
Oh, definitely. When one deck has Niv Mizzet Draco Genius and one doesn't,
right,
that's the one it'll favor. Now, Caleb does have some, he definitely has some things going long. He has Talrands, he has a Tameo, he has a Devil's Play, but really not a lot. Not a lot of any of those cards.
Still has a full grip. 4 cards in play. 2 mana is going to be Rune Chanter's Pike. Pass the turn. Pike could be fairly big in this matchup. And he's going to unstep Crushing Vines it.
Wow.
That's strong. The fact that he gets to do all that on unstep is very good out of Chris. And he has a Devil's Play and 2 Thrag Tusks in his hand. Now remember, there aren't that many counter spells out of Caleb's deck. And by not that many, I mean there are 0.
Right, 0 Syncopate.
So Thrag Tusk's going to come down. There's 2 Syncopate in the main deck of Chris. Chris will go up to 23. Caleb's going to need some help now. And Delver does not flip.
Yep, that's 4 missed triggers for Caleb Durward.
But remember,
no flips.
I mean, obviously that's unlucky, but not as unlucky as you'd think.
Right.
Dungeon Geist will tap down Thrag Tusk. Delver will swing for 1.
Yeah, I mean, really, Caleb's Delver should only flip something like 30% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, which is, that's less than a third.
Yep.
And if I'm Chris Alexander, I think I like the play of, well, he can either Devil's Play the Dungeon Geists, or he can slam another Thrag Tusk. Were I him, I think I would opt for Devil's Play. And he's going to go for it. He's going to Devil's Play the Dungeon Geists, hit for 1, drop Caleb to 14.
Yep, there it is. He wants to make sure he stays at a high life total, keeping the pressure on Caleb.
And the big thing, the reason you'd make that play when you're deciding between the two, is because Caleb doesn't play counter spells, but Caleb does play unsummons. And you don't want to see Dungeon Geist get unsummoned in response.
Right, that would be awful.
Interesting in Caleb's hand, Caleb also has a redirect in his hand.
Wow. That's exciting.
1 damage, Talrand Sky Summoner now down for Caleb. Life totals are 22 and 14 in Chris Alexander's favor.
Boy, is that a blowout.
And Chris draws a 3rd Thrag Tusk. So, can Talrand, Sky Summoner, race Thragtusk?
It really just depends whether Chris plays into it or not.
He's going to Snapcast the Devil's Play, Snapcaster Mage, targeting Devil's Play. He's going to get
Crushing
blown
Vines.
Crushing Vines. You
Crushing
can't
Vines,
Crushing
yeah,
Vines.
that's not a legal play. And wow, this works out really, really well for Chris Alexander.
His lands should be untapped, though.
Yeah, for sure. That had no legal target.
Yeah, so it's actually just not castable. Yeah, Talrand actually does not fly, despite the fact that he makes flyers.
That's what I thought the first time that I saw Talrand too. I just assumed he flew.
Right, it means a 2/2 for 4. Of course he's supposed to fly.
Yep.
And that's draw 4, discard 2. That's
Wow.
thought. I don't know. It's the thought card that I like to first pick.
Yeah, that card is really strong and limited.
Thought flare.
He's like, me, target me. Oh, wait. Looks like they're talking to the judge about whether the land should be untapped or not right now.
Yeah, the lands should be untapped for the record. So this is a good thing, say like I try to Doomblade your black creature, and then you're like, all right, so then, some people ask what happened. Do I have to, say you have a black creature and a white creature in play, and I cast Doomblade on your black creature. Well, obviously I did something illegal. Do I have to Doomblade your white creature now? No. The answer is that if I made an illegal play, I get warned saying, don't make illegal plays, and it goes back to my hand and my land's untapped.
Right, exactly. It goes back to the last correct game state.
Right. Now, granted, if I do that too many times, I might get a game loss.
Sure, as you should.
Right. It's because you don't want me intentionally doing that, when he gets the Cyclonic Rift, that was huge. Cyclonic Rift would be a game-winning card here. It means he has 1 Cyclonic Rift and 3 Mizium Mortars in his deck, all of which I think if Chris Alexander draws are game-winning spells.
So here we go. Chris will turn the creatures sideways. Augur of Bolas will stay back.
Remember, Caleb Durward is sitting on a redirect.
Redirect, yeah. Waiting for the Devil's Play,
Yep.
of course.
Delver and Drake are going to trade with Thragtusk, which is good. Caleb has to just find ways to get through. He wants to get infinite value out of this Talrand.
Right.
Game plan.
The longer that stays alive, the better it is for Caleb. Now, Chris might be this might be a flashback.
Another
Devil's Play.
Thragtusk.
Another Thragtusk. Chris might have seen that redirect in the second game. He might know to play around it.
Right.
Even though there's only 1 in the sideboard.
And there's
for
also
Caleb.
there's a Dissipate in Caleb's hand, so I don't think the Mizium Mortar's probably plan isn't working anymore at this point.
Right. Hard to imagine Caleb tapping out from this point forward. So Caleb, with all the real estate in the world, trying to figure out how to best leverage his Talrand.
Interesting is that turn where he Snapcasts the Crushing Vines, if Chris Alexander instead just slams another Thragtusk, I think he gets this game.
Definitely. He might still win anyway, but...
Tamiyo comes down and is going to ice down the Thragtusk. And Miracle Bonfire of the Damned comes out for Chris Alexander. This is going to have to get this has to get the Dissipate out of Caleb.
I would think so.
Now, is Bonfire redirectable?
To target player.
Oh my.
So this is going to be
This is going to
blowout.
be a blowout.
Wow.
This is going to be the game here when he tries for this.
Bang. And Chris Alexander can...
Let's read the card. Read the card again. Oh my, yeah, he knows it.
Yep. The draw. Oh, no.
Bonfire for 6.
That is brutal. Chris Alexander drops to 20. He'll sweep up all his creatures.
As a beast.
Gets a beast, but
and then another 2/2 for Caleb. That's the game in 1 card, because now with a Dissipate in his hand, Caleb's clear sailing from here, and a Snapcaster.
Yeah, I think you pinpointed that exact turn. If Chris just played the Thragtusk, probably would have won this game. Caleb did not have the Dissipate then.
I mean, okay, so let's just say right now that I think that Talrand flies. I think that Crushing Vines play is excellent. Actually,
right?
So
you have to kill.
So this is no fault on Chris's play skill or play decision. I think if I think that play as he planned it out worked, I think he's making the right play. So, it's unfortunate the card didn't do what he thought it did, but that's a totally different. I don't know. I actually think in the grand scheme of things, that's a pretty forgivable one.
Right.
You thought Talrand flew. It didn't, but
I thought Talrand flew the first time too.
Yeah, a Dissipate on Thragtusk, another 2/2 out of Caleb. Augur of Bolas comes down.
We'll see what this finds.
I don't know if it particularly matters. The Snapcaster in Caleb's hand, it finds nothing.
Wow.
Snapcaster in Caleb's hand is more than enough to deal with whatever Chris may draw. Tamiyo's looking to be to ultimate.
Yeah, everything going wrong for Chris this game. He had a great start, but...
Yep, and those face-down ones are Drake tokens. He's going to end step Thought Scour, make another Drake token. And that is Essence Backlash that gets milled there. Which is counter creature spell, deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost.
Caleb's deck is awesome. He has so many 1-drops, just so much versatility with these Snapcaster mages.
Snapcaster is definitely good in his deck. It's one of the better cards here.
Yeah. Wow, another
He's going to
Drake.
Snapcast the Thought Scour. He's really just going to go for it on end step here.
So he has 8 Power of Flyers, a Talrand, a Tameo.
He wanted to make sure that he got to a 2-turn clock.
Right.
And then with the draw of another Dissipate, this should be a 2-turn game.
This will take one more attack phase after this one from Caleb Durward to lock this up.
Interesting to tap there. I almost kind of liked the swing the 4 flyers post-combat draw 4. But I don't think it really matters what line he plays.
There's
the 1-turn clock. All right, Caleb. So Caleb Durward defeats Chris Alexander 2 games to 1. He also moved to 2-0. So far, especially in the new format, I would say we've had all our matches so far go to 3 games, but I think the known quantities coming out on top in each of our matches.
Yeah, and I like what Chris Alexander is trying to do here, but unfortunately it seemed like Caleb's deck just a lot more streamlined, a lot faster, a lot more versatile too.
Right. Actually, while watching that match, I like Chris's deck more out of the two of these. I like what he's trying to do a little more. I think the game played out unfortunately for him there, and it may have been the deciding factor. But both decks I think have pretty high potential for this upcoming season.